Let off some steam, Bennett.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today's video where we're going to take a deep dive into Ceres Power, which is another fuel cell hydrogen focused company, a bit different than some of the others that we have looked at as of now. We will come into this shortly, why they are different than some of the others. They are focusing on solid oxide fuel cell technology, and it's a spun off of Imperial College in the UK in London. Where they differ from some of the others that we have analyzed so far on the channel is that they are primarily focused on the technology side, basically developing the products. However, they have partnerships with large global companies, we'll also check them out later in the video, who are the ones who manufactures and sells the product. So again, they are highly focused on the initial stage of the product development, but thereafter they leave everything else to their partnership companies. So again, that's also why IP rights, intellectual property, is very important. They have more than 50 patent families as of today. They have 350 highly skilled scientists and engineers based in UK working on this. They have a quite strong balance sheet with more than 108 million pounds in cash. The order book, as we can see here, is not huge, with 14 million pounds, and on top of that, a potential 54 million in the pipeline. Again, they're not the ones who are manufacturing their products, so therefore they're a very capital light company. This is obviously a benefit from some angles, and from other angles it's not as good. However, this was the high level overview of them, but just for you to understand a bit more about the solid oxide fuel cell technology, just check out this video. So the steel cell solid oxide fuel cell from Ceres Power is the main product. And basically it's an electrochemical conversion device that produces electricity directly from oxidizing a fuel. And one of the advantages that Ceres Power believes that their technology have over, for example, a PEM fuel cell, is that that one can only run on hydrogen, while as their steel cell can run on natural gas, various liquid fuels, biofuels and hydrogen. So a lot of different types of fuel can be used, which cannot be used on a PEM stack. At the same time, as they have based it on a steel backbone, they believe that it's both more robust and cost competitive compared to other solid oxide fuel cell technology that is currently in the market. And what this means is also that it can be used for a lot more applications. So PEM is primarily used for transportation, while as solid oxide fuel cell is used for stationary power heating, as an example, while as the steel cell can be used in both. So basically it's more versatile product, and that's also something we will show later in the video. So as the video also demonstrated, the steel cell can be used in a wide range of applications, and as of today Ceres Power has a 1 kilowatt stack and a 5 kilowatt stack. And the 1 kilowatt stack can, for example, be used to provide heat and power, basically electricity, with a 60% efficiency, which is quite decent. It can also be used in commercial and data centers. For EV charging purposes here, they have a collaboration with Bosch, which is a huge German company. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with them. We will touch a bit more upon that partnership later in the video. And here obviously it can be used as an external decentralized energy system, which can be used once there's downtime on the grid, as an example. And this is also something we have seen some of the other competitors like Bloom Energy, for example, focusing on. So as you saw in the video, the steel cell technology can be used in a wide range of applications. As of today, Ceres Power has a 1 kilowatt stack and they have a larger 5 kilowatt stack. The 1 kilowatt stack can, for example, be used in a combination of providing heat and power, so basically providing precious electricity with a quite decent efficiency of around 60%. It can also be used as a backup external or decentralized energy system for commercial and data centers, and it can be used for EV charging. Here they have a partnership with Bosch, which is a huge German conglomerate. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of them or have used their products in the past. For the larger 5 kilowatt stack, another interesting element with them is the partnership with Weichai, a Chinese company, where they have an ambition to use the steel cell in power systems for EV buses and trucks. And this is a quite big opportunity and could be a differentiator for the company, in our opinion, because it may be that batteries have a huge advantage, at least as of today, for lighter vehicles. But for large transportation means like buses and trucks, the batteries, at least as of today, does not seem like the best alternative. And this is where a fuel cell could be a good alternative. And again, if that becomes a reality, this could be a big differentiator for Ceres Power. And finally, they have a collaboration with Doosan from South Korea. We covered them also in a separate video with Bloom Energy because they have a strategic collaboration with them. And here they want to use the steel cell for larger projects, basically for scaled utility scale, as mentioned here. So again, this is just to illustrate that the steel cell technology can be used in a wide range of applications. Ceres Power is though not standing still, and they basically are investing in the future. So as of today, they have committed £5 million for this year to develop a solid oxide electrolyzer cell technology that can produce hydrogen. And basically they believe that by investing today, they will be well positioned to capitalize on future opportunities. And some of those future opportunities is to have larger projects for example, the solid oxide fuel cell technology, where they want to go up to 150 to 500 kilowatt. And again, this is something that most of the hydrogen electrolyzer companies are looking at. They basically are going for scale, bigger, larger projects. That is the ambition for the future. On the solid oxide fuel cell and the solid oxide electrolyzer cell, which may come in the future, here the ambition is that is to be used for example, trucks, rails, and potentially for hydrogen and e-fuels in shipping and aviation. And specifically the shipping part, we have an interesting point on that later in the video. Also, on the solid oxide electrolyzer cell, they hope that the hydrogen and e-fuels can be used in large-scale industrial sites. And again, this is just to illustrate the company wants to go from providing small-scale solid oxide fuel cell to basically provide for larger scales and have a more variety product offerings, not just on the steel cell, but also for electrolyzer parts. So again, quite interesting to see that they are not standing still. They want to expand their product offerings. So Ceres Power strategy to become successful is obviously first in developing the technology, and here they believe that by moving into higher power systems and broadening the applications of their product, they can basically obviously grow their revenue. And to grow their revenue, they are depending on their global manufacturing partners that we just saw a bit earlier in the video, on which we'll go into details very soon in this video, who has a global presence. So again, Ceres Power needs to just develop the technology, and then from the manufacturing and sales perspective, it is the partners who's going to do most of the work. So Ceres has some different ways of generating revenue. The primary one is through licensing. Basically, Ceres develops fuel cell technologies that is then licensed to original equipment manufacturers or their manufacturing partners. So you can see here Bosch, Doosan, Weichai and Miura. They also have revenue from providing engineering services, and they can also have situation where they get revenue for each product that is sold that contains Ceres Power technology. And this is something they have with Miura, the Japanese partner. So again, every time they sell a product, boom, there's some royalty to be paid to Ceres Power. However, as of today, the licensing part here for their products or the steel cell system is the primary source of revenue. So here we have Bosch, which was basically the first partner to manufacture their core cell technology under a licensing agreement, and they are at the moment in the process of scaling up to production facility of 200 megawatt by 2024 across multiple sites in Germany. So the benefit of Bosch scaling up is basically, of course, that Ceres Power is getting more revenue. And the total deal that they have from 2021 to 2023 is a value up to 23 million pounds, which is basically more than what they have sold over the last year. So it's still a quite important deal to Ceres Power. 6 million pounds is conditional on that certain KPIs are being met. The stacks will be used as demand for decentralized power plants in cities, factories, trade and commerce data centers, and also for electrical vehicle charging infrastructure. And Bosch believes that the total market will be worth more than 20 billion by 2030. This obviously doesn't mean that all this will go to Ceres Power, but it's an indication of that Bosch has a really strong faith in Ceres Power and their technology. And that was also a testament because during 2020, Bosch increased its stake in Ceres Power. So originally they had 3.9% of the company. Now today they own 18%. And that was basically achieved through subscription to new Ceres Power shares that was launched in 2020. And the total investment of this from going from 3.9% to 18% was approximately around 100 million US dollars. So again, this is a clear statement to Bosch that they believe in the technology, but also that this is a strength of partnerships between the companies. It may be that Ceres Power is going to be very dependent on Bosch, but Bosch is definitely also showing that they have an interest in working deeply with Ceres Power. So this is obviously a huge advantage for Ceres Power and something that we really like overall, to see this partnership and see that there's already plans to scale up significantly over the coming years. So another really interesting partnership is the one that they have with Weichai Power from China, which is an automobile and equipment manufacturing company. Similar to Bosch, Weichai Power has an equity stake in Ceres Power. They have 20% as of today. They first signed an agreement in 2018. The ambition here was to develop a 30 kilowatt range extender system for electric buses. That has been successful. The prototype is ready and it has been used in field trials. It's basically run on compressed natural gas. Subsequently to that, they established a JV between the companies, and they're currently in the process of establishing a fuel cell manufacturing facility in China with obviously the ambition to manufacture these extended range systems for buses, commercial vehicles, and other types of markets in China. Again, the ambition would be to have this facility ready during 2020, but due to the corona situation, it was postponed for the first half or the second half of 2021. But again, the EV market is going to be huge in China. We have covered that in a lot of other videos. So this is another huge opportunity for Ceres Power, where we believe that if they are successful, this could definitely also be a key differentiator for them. So these are the more established partnerships that Ceres Power has as of today. However, they have recently signed another type of strategic partnership. This is more focused on actually making products that can be used in the market. However, they recently also signed a strategic system collaboration with an Austrian company that is called AVL, which is a global consulting engineering firm that employs more than 11,000 people and has a turnover of more than 2 billion per year. And this is much more focused on the technology side, basically sharing or creating intellectual property portfolios. So basically getting access to each other's within the solid oxide fuel cell technology. And by having access to a larger IP portfolio, you should be able to develop more and better products. So that's obviously quite interesting collaboration that they have done there, which could potentially benefit the other partnerships that they have in the future through other types of products. So we think this was quite interesting and a good move from them, because in the end of the day, to protect and have intellectual property it's a requirement if you want to survive in the long run. So definitely this is a good decision made by Ceres Power. So as we have mentioned throughout the video, Ceres Power is primarily relying on their strategic partners to do the manufacturing part. However, they have built a manufacturing facility in Red Hill, UK that was finished in January 2020. However, the primary purpose of this facility is to enable a technology transfer of their manufacturing processes and know-how to their strategic partners. But it also delivers a small-term value to the customers in the UK. And currently the facility has a production capacity of 2 megawatt. They expect during this year to increase that to 3 megawatt. So obviously it's not that big. However, if they want to, they can actually have a manufacturing capacity of up to 10 megawatt in the future. But again, the primary point is to use it for the strategic partners to do the technology transfer part, but also to serve the UK customers. In terms of future revenue growth, as we can see here from 2016 to 2020, they went from below 4 million pounds all the way up to 20 million pounds in 2020. In the near term, which for them is 3 to 4 years, they believe that their engineering service fees will go up slightly. Their supply for customer programs, for example in the UK, will also go up slightly, and their advanced license fees from manufacturers will also increase relatively significantly over the next 3 to 4 years. However, the big growth is first going to come afterwards, after 2024, 2025, when they have what they call the full market launch in, for example, Germany and South Korea. This is where the royalty starts to kick in, and that's where you should expect a significant revenue growth. So again, Ceres Power has a clear idea over that they are going to grow on an annual basis, which is obviously important to know as an investor. However, you need to have a bit more long-term perspective if you want to see where it really starts to kick in, which was going to be approximately in 2025. And the core areas for future growth is expected to be within decentralized power. So here they believe that there will be a market size of 100 gigawatt and a possible annual revenue for Ceres of around $360 million US. From electric vehicles, they believe that it will be more than 300 gigawatt and a possible annual revenue of 400 million. And finally, from clean power for data centers, they believe that it will be more than 50 gigawatt and a possible annual revenue of 270 million. So again, this does not necessarily mean that Ceres Power is going to capture that much market share, but it's just to illustrate that there is expected to be huge opportunities in them of seeing big revenue growth in the future. And obviously, if you're an investor, this is something you want to see from companies like that. You want to see that the revenue grows on an annual basis. You obviously also want to have profitability, and this is one of the criticisms that we have had with some of these fuel cell and hydrogen companies, is this doubt as to whether they will ever become profitable. However, we would say with the kind of model that Ceres Power is choosing, we actually think that there could be a good and realistic chance of them becoming profitable in not too distant future, and they definitely have a big market that they can go and try and penetrate with their strategic partners. So again, overall it looks quite good for them in our opinion. Some of the pros and cons for the company: from a pro side, it's obviously a very interesting technology that they have. They have experienced relative high revenue growth over the past years. They are very capex light. They have their own manufacturing facility, but it's quite small compared to what you would see from other companies. And again, they are focusing on their partnerships to do the manufacturing part. They have a relative strong balance sheet as of today. They are not profitable, but they have cash at hand, which is obviously also important. They're very R&D focused, which means that they are trying to open up for new markets and perhaps also new segments from a capacity perspective. And they have some very interesting and strong global partnerships. You know, we have touched upon it with the ownership stake of both Bosch but also Weichai, which means that it's not just a partnership, it's more a relationship that is very strong, and it will be difficult to break, to be honest. And obviously it's important for Ceres Power to have a large partner that can take them out on a global scale, because they would probably not be able to do that themselves. Some of the cons or risk, obviously they're still very depending on the partners to drive the sales of them, so it's a pro obviously, but it can also be a con in some aspects. They still only have 20 million pounds in revenue, so although the relative growth is high, it's not that big revenue that they had as of now. Competition is increasing and will increase in the future. They are obviously still not going to be cost competitive compared to other alternatives out there, but that's the same for all the companies within the fuel cell and hydrogen space. They have a very high price to sales ratio. However, the flip side of that is that there's huge growth that is expected to happen after 2024, and that's obviously the most important point to note as an investor right now, that the revenue should grow significantly in the coming years. And lastly, there is no guarantees that the technological development will continue or that the product necessarily will be better than the competitors. So that's obviously more of a risk side, but again, that's something that is not specifically attributed towards Ceres Power. This is something that is a general thing in the industry. So finally, what is our verdict on Ceres Power? Well, as you have seen in some of the other videos and some of the stocks that we have covered, we have done a lot of videos of different types of hydrogen and fuel cell companies as of now. We have also benchmarked them on their financials that we have. And again, a lot of interesting companies, some that we like better than others. If we are to take a look at Ceres Power themselves, well, obviously they're already somehow established within the hydrogen fuel cell scene. They have a relative narrow portfolio, but they expect to be able to expand it. What is good about the products that they have is that they're very versatile and can be used in a lot of different applications. They're still very depending on partnerships to grow revenue. They will not be able to do that themselves. However, the good side of that is that the partnerships that they have are on a more global scale. They have high growth, or at least over the last year, and we expect that to continue in the future for the revenue, although the biggest growth in the revenue is expected to happen after 2024-2025. Right now, the stock trades and future expectation, and we wouldn't say that it's necessarily cheap. However, we would say it's actually a quite interesting company, and we are quite intrigued about what they're doing and their business model, which we think could suit potentially quite well for the industry type of this. However, it is important to keep in mind that they are not profitable, and they may not become profitable in the coming years, and that's why it's important that they have a strong balance sheet, which is the case. So overall, we would say that we actually quite like Ceres Power, and we would potentially consider to enter into a position with them. However, please keep in mind that we are not professional financial advisors, and this is only done for entertainment purposes. You need to do your own due diligence of the companies before you take an active investment decision. Besides that, there's not much more to say than please subscribe for future content. Please give us a like, it really helps with the algorithm, and please provide a comment in the comment section. Is there anything we have missed, something that we have said that was incorrect in regards to Ceres Power? We really want your opinion, because this could be the case. We do not say that we have everything 100% under control. We may have missed an important point, and that's why we always appreciate the feedback from you guys. Besides that, there's not much more to say than stay safe, have a nice day, hasta la vista baby.